Okay. Next item is request for a use permit to allow on-site consumption of alcoholic beverages, a wine tasting room, per chapters 12.84.210 of the San Bruno zoning ordinance. And this would be located at Lenardi's Supermarket. Staff report, please.
Thank you and good evening. As stated, the applicant has applied for a use permit to allow on-site consumption of alcohol in conjunction with a proposed wine room. The subject site is the existing Lenardi's Market, which is located on the corner of San Bruno Avenue and Glenview Drive. As you know, there's been a lot of activity at Lenardi's over the past few years. Recently, they updated the appearance of the facade, also included new landscaping throughout the site, and most recently, they completed a 5,800 square foot addition to the rear of the existing building. Regarding the wine room itself will be located inside of the building and will measure 10 feet wide by 10 feet deep. The current business hours of operation are 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. on Sundays. The applicant has indicated that tasting will take place during normal business hours and will typically take place during the afternoon hours. It is important to note that Lenardi's currently has a Type 20 ABC license, which permits the sale of wine and beer for off-site consumption. Lenardi's has since applied for a Type 42 ABC license, which permits the on-site consumption of beer and wine. And that's why we're here tonight, it's strictly for the on-site consumption of alcohol. It is important to note that the police department has reviewed the proposal and found that the new wine room would not have any negative impacts on the existing business. Staff has included the standard conditions of approval within the staff report and finds that the proposal will be a good addition to the existing market and recommends that the Planning Commission approve the use permit based on findings of fact 1 through 5 and conditions of approval 1 through 11. I'm available to answer any questions.
Thanks, Matt. Okay, do the commissioners have any questions of staff? No? Okay, thank you. At this point in time, would the applicant please step forward and state your name and...
My name is Rick Cole. I'm here representing Lenardi's, and I really don't have anything to add to his presentation. I'm just here for answer. If you have any questions, to answer them.
All right, thank you. So, bring it back to the commissioners. Do we have any questions of the applicant?
Through the chair.
Commissioner.
Can you describe how the tasting room would operate? What does it look like? Not so much in appearance, but how do you see that functioning? Number of people?
Well, it's toward the back of the store, and it's a 10 by 10 foot. It's squared off, and no one's allowed to go outside of that little area with a open container of wine. They have to stay inside that little area.
So is it a tasting room or is it a place to have a beverage? Or
Well, it's
cocktail?
basically a tasting room. If you've been in a grocery store where they've had these little square 10 by 10 areas where you can go inside that room and taste the wine, and then you have to leave the glass if it's empty or in there, and then you have to continue shopping. So there's no one's allowed to wander around the store with an open container. They have to stay inside that place, and it'll be policed by Lenardi's and the wineries that'll have that there also, a winery rep.
And so it'll be monitored by Lenardi's, but it will be a private vendor in doing that? Or is it a...
Most likely, yes, but sometimes the vendors won't be there, but the Lenardi's staff will usually the manager, assistant manager will be there monitoring that.
And what if a client wanted to, or a customer wanted to go in there and they had a child with them? How does that work?
The child's not allowed inside because it's basically an area where only people 21 years of old or older can go inside.
So there will be signs posted that no one
Yes.
under 21 would be...
Yes, and there's also signs posted that no one can leave with an open container.
And what
outside.
time do you anticipate that this tasting room would be open?
What was the
What are
question?
the hours of operation?
Well, it's most likely in the afternoon, and it's not going to be on an everyday basis. It's going to be when the wineries usually show up and say we want to do it at a certain time, and it's usually done in the afternoon, like it says in the staff report. So.
I didn't see in the application, although I might have been oversight on my part. Were there hours attached to
Yes.
that? I
No,
knew there were hours of
there's
operation
no
for Lenardi's.
There's no specific hours, but
I didn't see that. I
the
just saw
hours of the
hours.
store
Right, I saw
were
that.
listed, but there's going to be I don't know if it's random is the right word, there'll probably be a schedule of, certain wineries, Crystal Springs Winery might show up at 3 o'clock and it'll be posted for a week or two if people want to try that kind of wine, or Wayne Brothers, or whatever winery decides to have a tasting.
So that, would you be opposed if there was a condition that indicated a specific timetable after lunchtime it would be open, or, when I see hours at 7 o'clock in the morning, I find it hard pressed to think that someone would be here.
No, I don't see that would be a problem, no, not at all.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Sure, thank you.
Any other questions of the applicant?
Through the chair.
Commissioner Peterson?
Do you have any plans to monitor the amount that each customer consumes during the day?
Well, I mean, as far as, if a guy who comes in and tastes some wine and then leaves and then comes back and tastes some more, I probably think it's just a one-time shot where the guy can taste a wine at one particular, it's not gonna be a whole glass, it'll be probably an inch up so they can get a taste of it. It's not like it's just not something to drink, it's something to taste. So a client, for example, if he's in the store and he's always interested about this $30 bottle of wine, maybe he can sample that wine without having to buy it to see if he likes it.
So you wouldn't see it as even being a possibility that any customer would consume 6 ounces or more of wine?
And no, I don't see that, no. It would be monitored where if somebody wants to, it's not like you go to some of these wine tastings where it's just free pour. It's not like that.
Thank you very much.
So one guy, if he probably wouldn't be able to come back in. He says, you already had your taste. You wouldn't be able to come back in.
Thank you.
Any other questions of the applicant? Okay, thank you very much. Seeing that we have no more questions, I'm going to now open it up to public comment. Anybody from the public wishing to speak on this item, if you would please come to the podium. Okay, seeing none, I will now close the public comment time. Bring it back to the commissioners for discussion, action.
Through the chair.
Commissioner Peterson?
I move that the commission approve use permit 10-9 based on findings of fact 1 through 5 and conditions of approval 1 through 11.
Second.
Okay, there is a motion and a second. Commissioner Johnson did have,
I'd like to propose, through the chair, that there be some consideration to discussing the hours, after 11 or after 12.
okay.
I'd like to add to that motion that restriction of hours. I'm trying to think through, what's a reasonable amount, and Aaron, this is new to us, so I don't want to be unrealistic or restrictive in areas that may not be reasonable for the applicant by any means. However, I'd like to at least, is there any experience that you have had with other projects that are in a public grocery customer area?
The only other one that we've approved in San Bruno is at Beverages and More. It was a little bit different in that they had specific wine tasting times, but I don't think we put a limit on the amount of hours for that application. Of course, that's somewhat different because it's a store where people go to buy alcoholic beverages rather than an overall grocery store.
And they don't open at 7:30 in the morning?
No.
They're
No,
typically-
they probably open at 10.
Yeah, it's 10 and then occasionally there's 11.
Yeah.
Through the chair. If I
Commissioner
can,
Marshall?
not to interrupt, but just to put I don't think we need to regulate the times. I don't think Lenardi's is going to go up there at 7:30 in the morning and serve wine to the people. And if we regulate the time, there may be a Sunday where there's a 49er game and some champagne vendor may want to come and sample champagne from mimosas and one time. And I think it's
Yeah.
too much of I don't think it's needed, to be honest.
I'm just raising the question, just
No,
for
I hear you.
discussion.
No, I hear you. But my opinion, I don't think we need it.
Okay.
Okay, so right now we do have a motion and a second on the floor. I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? None. So it does pass. There will be a 10-day appeal period, and I'm sure the Lenardis will police it quite well. Thank you.